Having a child is making me hate my parents. Trigger warning. Sorry in advance for the word vomit. I've been in my feels for a few days and recently realized that I have no fucking clue how to navigate my emotions. My kid is 5 months old. He is the light of my life. I've wanted to be a father for my entire life and he's perfect. I cannot imagine doing or saying the things that my parents have to me and my siblings. They are immigrants, we are first-born generation here in the States, and I've always chalked up the strict upbringing to just cultural differences. At 10, my father has told me that he's had to lie to his coworkers about his children to not be so embarrassed, and my mother has told me on many accounts that I'm lucky to have a family, else I wouldn't be loved because I'm so weird. There was a day that my brother and I must have been 11 and he's 7, were driven home by police because while playing in our local neighborhood, we got lost and someone called the cops to help us get home. I was so scared the entire ride home because I knew my dad would freak out. I remember begging the officer to just drop us off down the road so we can walk home, but that only made him want to personally speak to my father. My dad answered the door to him, shocked to see police, and then saw us. Daggers in his eyes. He laughed, and when he waved the officer by, he closed the door and broke the wooden spoon he was holding over my head. He hit me to the ground and kept beating me, screaming that I embarrassed him and that I had to be responsible for my brother. I knew that was going to happen. I thought about this a few days ago with the sudden realization that I did absolutely nothing wrong. What the fuck did I do to warrant such anger and violence? We were lost and came home. I committed no crime. We were all okay, not that you asked. Why was coming home so much harder than being lost? I was molested and roped from 6 to 13 by a family friend. I never had the courage to tell my parents. I was so ashamed and felt so fucking dirty all the time. I felt like if I told them, they would beat me for lying or beat me for allowing it to happen. What chance did that child stand against her manipulation? My mother loves to say that she gave us every opportunity she didn't have growing up. She put us in ballet, dance, music, all types of shit. I remember my sister saying she wanted to stop piano classes one day and refused to practice that morning. My mother took a straightening iron and burned V into her forearm even after my sister screamed that she'd practice. I never complained after that. How could you even think to do that, you fucking monster? The reason these feelings are all coming back is because my parents are going through a divorce. They're not speaking to each other and beg me to be the middleman. I told my dad to fuck off and my mother that I can't do it for her. I hate feeling like this. I'm supposed to love my parents. I would die if my kid ever felt this way toward me. I was talking to my mother the other day about my child and I said I would never spank him. She told me that sometimes it's the only thing you can do. I told her that it won't teach him anything. She looks at me and says, "You turned out okay, didn't you? Are you out of your mind?" I couldn't turn to you when I felt like the filthiest pile on the planet. I felt so fucking alone. I still do sometimes. I will never teach my son that an act of love can be portrayed through violence. I feel sick even imagining it, that he stays with an abuser because he believes it's okay when masked with love? Or even worse, that he abuses and justifies it. My son will never fear being lost more than coming home. I'm tearing up just typing this. I feel like I have so much to unpack so that my son never feels like this. Thank you for sharing in my experience.